Hi guys. So what I'm going to do today is I'm going to show you how to put view a CSV or an Excel file inside a Tkinter GUI. Now you might have multiple reasons for doing this, but just as an example, what you could do is you could get an Excel file, view it in Tkinter. You could maybe use it as a way to visualize your Pandas transformations, and then you could manipulate it in whatever way, see those changes being made, and then you could like export it to a CSV or Excel, or even email it to someone, or any other thing you can think of, really. So this is just going to be a quick, well, not a quick video, but it's going to be a video on how to do so. So what I'm going to do, I'm using Atom as my text editor, and I'm using Python 3.7. So I'm going to do, I'm going to create a file. We're going to call it Tkinter excel.py. And what we're going to do, oh yeah, and also please bear in mind with me, I don't have two screens, so I'm just using my phone screen as a secondary screen. So if there's any awkward pauses, just bear with me. So what we're going to do is we're going to import Tkinter as TK. And then from Tkinter as well, we're going to import file dialog message box and TTK. Then we're also going to import pandas as PD. Cool. So the first things first we have to do, we have to initialize our Tkinter GUI. And then we have to get the main loop, so root.main loop. This will basically keep running a loop so that our GUI is constantly being shown. So if I run it, here's our GUI window. Now what I need to do is I'm going to set a property of the GUI. I'm going to, it's called root.geometry. And I'm going to set that by 500 width by 500 pixels in height. And this is basically the dimensions of the root window. Then another one is root.pack_propagate. Now, some might not be familiar with this, but effectively what it is it's telling the root window that don't resize yourself based on the widgets that are packed inside you. So for example, if I had a normal root window and I packed a button inside, the root window would then shrink to the size of that button. But this is basically saying don't do that. And then another property I'm going to set is root.resize. That's going to be 0 and 0. So that's basically saying that the window can't be resized. And that's just more for demo purposes. It's just easier for me to write it out. So now bear in mind, I'm not really following any like architectures, design architectures, or like object-oriented programming. It's just a snippet just to show you on how you would do it, and you can implement that into your own programs. So first things I'm going to create is I'm going to create a frame called frame1. I'm going to make this frame equal to tk.label frame. The container for this is going to be the root window. The text of this label frame, text is going to be equal to Excel data. Then I'm going to place it, give it a height of 250, a width of 500. Now there's three ways to place put a widget inside its container. You can pack it, you can use a grid, or you could use place. Pack is essentially saying just stuff it in the container. Place is more detailed, so you can place it by the pixel on where you want to go on the X and Y planes. And then there's also grid, which will, you'd configure your grid for the container. Then you can put it by the row and column. So like row 1, column 1, place this widget here. And so if I run this, just to show you what it looks like, Here is our Excel data, and this here, as you see, is our container for it. So then that's that part done. And this is where we're going to put our tree view. So I'm just going to put a note here, and I'm going to say frame or comment, frame for tree view. So our tree view is going to go inside here. And next is the frame for the open file dialog. Frame for open file dialog. Okay. And what we're going to call this, let's just call it file frame. I'm going to make this equal to tk.label frame. The container is going to be root, and the text of this is going to be equal to open file. Then we're going to place this. So underscore frame equals, sorry, frame dot place height equals 100, width equals, let's say 400, rel y equals 0.65. I've done this all already, so it's just a matter of just like relaying it to you guys. And then let's say relative x is equal to 0. So the default is 0, but let's just place it here. So effectively, what this is saying with the y-axis is saying on the x-axis, place this widget at 0.0. So that will be like here where the mouse is. And then on the y-axis, place it at 0.65% of the widget's space. So that would be like 0.65 of the screen would be like here, for example. So that's that part. And then now what we're going to do, we're going to create our buttons. So let's comment here, buttons. And these are actually going to run the commands that we want. So our first button, let's call this one button 1 equals tk.button file underscore frame is going to be the container. And the text is going to be called browse a file. Okay, and then I'm going to add a command here. So to do command. This is just a note to self basically for later on. And then button. So this button doesn't actually do anything yet. I need to give it a command to do. And we're going to place this relative y equals 0.65 and relative x equals 0.5. And then the next button, we're going to call this, let's just call it button 2. It's going to be equal to tk.button file underscore frame text is going to equal to load file. And then we're going to do the to do again, to do, and then command, just a note to self that we need to add the command for this button. So just like button 1, button 2 does nothing. So then what we need to do is place it. So button 2.place rel y equals 0.65 and rel x equals 0.3. Okay, and then next is we're going to have just a label file. We're going to call, a label, sorry. And we're just going to call this label underscore file. And it's going to equal ttk.label. So this is just like TTK is basically like, it has additional Tkinter widgets, like newer ones. And I think that's what our tree view is as well. And we're going to put this inside the file frame container. And the text of this label is going to equal no file selected, because this is the default state of it. Then label underscore file dot place relative y equals 0, rel x equals 0 as well. So if I save this, if I Control Shift B, this is what it looks like so far. And the buttons don't do anything, as you can see. This is what our GUI looks like. So now what we need to do, we need to create the tree view widget. So now the tree view widget is basically how we're actually going to visualize the Excel table, or well, our Pandas DataFrame. So now here is the tree view widget. So now what we're going to do is, let's call it TV1, tree view 1, ttk.tree view. And we're going to place this inside our tree view frame. So here, and TV, that's like our container for it. And then TV dot place relative height equals 1 and relative width equals 1. So basically that's what this is basically saying is fill the whole container with the tree view. Okay, so that's that. Sorry, tree view 1. Okay. And then what we need to do is we need to add our scroll bars for this tree view. So if we have a lot more data than the widget size, we need to create a scroll bar for it. So what we can do tree scroll y, so this is our y-axis, is equal to tk dot scroll bar, and then frame 1 is the container. The orient is going to be equal to vertical, which is the default, and the command is going to equal tv1, so the tree view dot y view. We're going to do the same for the x-axis, so tree scroll x is equal to tk dot scroll bar. Frame 1 is the container. The orient is going to be horizontal, and the command is equal to tv1 dot x view. So what this is basically saying is, from that tree view, what the command is saying is, on this tree view widget, when you activate this, update the view of the x-axis and update the view of the y-axis. And then what we're going to do, we're going to configure tree view 1 to take in these two tree scroll objects, these two scrolling objects. So tv1 dot configure x scroll command equals tree scroll x dot set, and y scroll command is equal to tree scroll y dot set. So this is basically assigning the scroll bars to our tree view widget here. And effectively what we can do is we can just pack these inside the widget. So tree scroll, because we want it to fill the container, and then side equals bottom. So we're just going to pack it right there in the bottom, and fill equals x. So we're going to fill the x-axis. And then with tree scroll y, dot pack side equals right. So we're going to fill that the right side. We're going to pack it there, and we're going to fill the y-axis. Okay, so that's that. So now that's that pretty much. So now what we're going to do, we're going to save, and I'm just going to show you what it looks like. Module ttk is no tree view. What have I done here? Sorry, it should be tree view lowercase. Okay, so as you can see, it's changed color, and then here's our scroll bars now. Cool. So now what we're going to do next is we're going to add our commands. So let's create them. So we're going to have 3 commands basically. We're going to have one called file dialog. So def, let's create our functions, file underscore dialog. And let's just pass. We're just going to create them. And the other one is going to be called load underscore Excel underscore data. here. Then the last one is going to be called clear underscore data. This is just to clear our data, this our tree view if it has any data inside it. Cool. 2 lines. Cool. And then what I'm going to do is just now populate the command that we had to do the command that we had to do the to-do part for. And what we're going to do here is, just give me a second. So for button 1, the command is going to equal, it's going to be a lambda function, and we're going to run file dialog. Then the next command is going to be another lambda function. It's going to be called load Excel data. Basically, we can press the button as many times as we want, and it's like a throwaway function, it being a lambda, so it will enable us basically to run it as if we've never ran it before, the function. And then what I need to do now is, the file dialog parts, well, the functions for these commands. So the to-do is done. Okay, and then now let's start with our file dialog. So this function is what's going to show us the file explorer. So let's say file name is basically equal to file dialog, file dialog, the one that we imported at the beginning, dot ask open file name. And the initial directory for this initial directory is going to be just the root. The title is going to equal select a file. The file type is, well, it can be all files, or it's going to be XLSX files, or CSVs. So file type is equal to, let's do that. This again. Sorry, let's do, here. So we're going to have one. So we're going to have XLSX files, comma, have like a wildcard, dot XLSX. This is basically anything dot XLSX, as long as it ends in that, is fine. Then another comma, another. So the other alternative is going to be all files. Then star. So all files, it can just be any type of file. Then let's neaten this a bit. Okay, so then that's our file name. Okay, and then what we need to do is set the label underscore file text is equal to the file name. So what this is saying is that label text that we set earlier up here that says no file selected, when we select the file dialog, the property of this is now going to be, the text property of this label file is now going to be equal to the file directory or the file name. Then when we load in Excel data, it's going to take that file name as our directory. So if the file is valid, it's going to load it. So what we're going to do, we're going to get that file path. So file underscore path is equal to label underscore file text. Then what we're going to do a try Excel underscore file name is equal to a raw string, because that's what we're going to get returned, dot format file underscore path. That's basically the file name, but we're just putting it as a raw string. And then data frame is equal to pd dot read underscore Excel, and then Excel file name, the raw string. Now, if this fails, accept value error. So this value error is in the event that the pandas can't read in this file name because it's an invalid file. If that's the case, we're going to show an error message. So tk.messagebox.show error. The title of it is going to be information, and the message inside is going to equal the file you have entered is invalid. Or you could say chosen here. You've chosen is invalid. Okay. And then we have another error. Well, once that's done, we're going to return none. So we're going to exit this function. And another one we're going to have is file not found. So this is the event that you load a file and it can't recognize that file. Then what we're going to do, tk.messagebox.show error. Again, information. And we're going to do something called the f string. And then we're going to have no such file as. Then what we're going to do, we're going to put in our file underscore path that the user has chosen. It's like this file path doesn't exist, is what it's saying. And another thing I want to do is I just want to return none here. And because these are void functions, it's just good practice to return none. No, it doesn't have to be done, but I just do it. Okay, now what we're going to do here is, so if the tree view is already populated, we're going to clear the data. So we can just clear the data anyway. We can just run this function. So it's going to clear the data. And then what we're going to do is set the tree view columns. So tree view 1 columns is going to basically be equal to the data frame columns, the name of the data frame columns. Yeah. tv1 dot show equals headings. So we're only going to show the headings. And now we're going to assign them headings as well, assign those headings as well. So to do that, we're going to do a for each loop. So for column in tv1 columns, tv1 dot heading, the heading property, is going to equal column and text column. Yep, text column. Okay. And then next we're going to do, we're going to exit this for loop. And now what we're going to do, we're going to change the data frame into a series of rows. So data frame rows basically is data frame. We change it to a NumPy array, and then we change that. And then we change that NumPy array to a list. Then what we're going to do is for row in df underscore rows, tv1 dot insert blank and values equals row. Oh, sorry, apologies, because I can't actually remember what these two parameters actually were. But effectively what this is saying is, for each row in the data frame, insert it into our tree view. Then we're going to return none. And then last but not least in this whole thing, we're going to run the clear data. So effectively what clear data does is tv1.delete. We're going to use a split operator, tv1. So it's going to unpack all of the rows effectively inside TV and the headings, everything inside it, all of the children. It's just basically going to delete them. So that's going to completely clear our tree view. And unless I haven't done any mistakes, I believe this is pretty much it. So this is our code. So now I'm going to save, now I'm going to run. Cool. So now as you can see, open file, Excel data, empty tree view. So now what we need to do, if we load the file, try to, no such file as no such file selected. No file selected is, no file. So it's invalid, so that's working. So now we're going to browse a file. So now I need to find the file. So what I can do is random scripts. I have it here, and let's run this data file here. So open, it's got the directory as you can see, and then load file, and then here's our file. So that works. Then what I'm going to do, I'm going to do it again for another file. So what should happen now is it should clear this tree view and then put in the new data. So I'm going to enter this file, open, as you can see our new directory. And then what I'm going to do is load it. And as you can see, this file loaded. It's like share price data, I believe, for Microsoft. And yeah, that is pretty much it. That is pretty much it. And just to show you the other exception, random scripts. Let's try and run, I'll go back a bit. Let's do all files. Let's do something random like this one. Oh, okay. I guess because it's a PY file, it's not going to work. But if it's another one, like maybe a Word document, then that should raise the flag. The second try and accept that we had, the first try and accept the value error that we had, the value you've chosen is invalid. But I'm sure I could raise this error if need be and catch that exception. So yeah, I mean, this is pretty much it. I can browse another file, random scripts. Let me just check if CSVs work. It should do. Open. The reason why CSVs don't, because I'd used read Excel. So what I could do, I could actually check the ending path of the text and check if it's a CSV or an Excel file, and then do what needs to be done accordingly. Yeah, I mean, it's simple to do. It's just you just slice the file path, get the last 3 lines of the file path, and then you can do if it equals CSV, do pd.read CSV. Otherwise, if it ends in .xlsx, then read Excel. But yeah, that's kind of our scope for this. I just want to show you guys that, and that is pretty much it. So yeah, guys, thanks for viewing. Take care.